what now the new it is. What is required mostly at the PCN level, that's level 2, level 3, is the connectivity and also access to the connectivity, which now will be make it even easier to have a wider coverage compared to the others. In addition to that, there are a number of questions that were asked about the e-waste. I know the ministry is going to give guidance on the e-waste management in line with now the policy that is there with NEMA. It is a thing that is going to be looked at. There's already a team that will be constituted to handle that. So in terms of the e-waste, there's also in terms of how can you be able to use the same devices again to by donating them to research institutions. There's also now the what you normally say the lifespan of that particular device in terms of how long will you be able to use it now so that it can no longer become an asset. Then you need to value so that you can be able to acquire new ones because of the new emerging technologies. Then there's something to do with the considerations of the software as a service, or even the infrastructure as a service. I think that one is a good recommendation that we may take it over because it has worked in other sectors. Now, whereby you hire, you use, then after that, of course, you pay, but then it's a good consideration so that it will offload most of the burden, and then you ensure the services are well delivered. I think for now, we can be able to stop there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mike. Now you can take over and analyze other questions.
Yeah, thanks. Most questions have been tackled. Yeah, so the first one from Momo was concerning too many things, or the same facilities. We are blessed with IT, others with nothing. Yeah, so one thing which we have indicated clearly is that we will have to have the gate. Yeah, and the gate will be a committee that determines what happens in terms of the investments. So from wherever it comes, government, partner, or whoever wants to bring in, the committee determines that these are the things coming, and then they'll be able to provide information on what is already on the ground. Because whatever, maybe the interest which the partner might be having is to have their data transmitted. So if that one is taken care of, then the devices can be distributed. So the recommendation was we are to have a county level committee to be able to just manage how the IT infrastructure gets into the county. Yeah, and then the second in terms of I think how the management of devices, I think it has been responded to. Yeah, but apart from that, in terms of replacing the devices, I was very happy about the presentation from insurance, public health financing. Yeah, and they say that if this thing works, this thing will fund what? The entire digital superhighway. Yeah? Yeah, so that is the primary source of sustainability here. Yeah, so I always say that for maybe a dispensary to be able to run services, they only need to have 3 skilled deliveries to maintain the recurrent expenditure. So if you give them in form of that in their understanding, so they only need to know they need to deliver the revenue. And with that, then they're good in terms of just ensuring all their recording and all that is taken care of within the health facility. But of course, it depends on the level or how much work is with the dispenser, but most of them around there should be able to work. Yeah, and then in terms of infrastructure service, if I can add, I think I indicated that there was an aspect for rugged devices. Those devices that were quite robust to be able to work in very extreme environments. So the only challenge was it was 4 times the cost of the normal device which you can be able to procure. So those are some of the discussions we can continue. But thank you, Wesley, for that input. Is something which you can look at. But as a start, for infrastructure as a service, we have said data centers, not at the health facility, the servers not at the health facility, but within the data center. Yeah, so in terms of the infrastructure required minimum, the county, we say will be able to define the specification which are contextualized. So for facilities that require additional, apart from maybe the mobile devices, maybe computers for one reason or another within maybe their labs or somewhere critical, including video conferencing and all that. So those are some of the things which you'll be able to put into consideration. And that's why you're also indicating that we need power to be quite sustainable within that. So that's part of what the team agreed, and as you keep on defining, it's based on the requirements that are provided. Yeah, and then there were some significant questions on on, I think, the software a bit and how it runs. But I'll try to respond, but maybe we can be able to see how we can get further responses. But I'll specifically just answer for connectivity. So we aim to have it real time. And for those ones who are within urban, it's easier because they have multiple channels for communication. And it's not hospital communicating with hospital. It's hospital communicating with the core services, and then the other hospital picks information from the core services. So it's not point to point from a facility to facility. First of all, there's that registry and the data bank where now other hospitals can make inquiries. So it's, yeah, but in terms of just connectivity for real time, I think in urban areas there's quite good bandwidth. Yeah, but in other areas, yeah, there might be some challenges. And just to add there is that we might have been despising cellular networks. Yeah, so I'll say this is not a dream. This has actually been actualized. So specifically for ECPAF, we have 290 facilities running on this. And they have been running, I think more than half of them have been running on this for more than 2 years. Yeah, and the others, of course, yeah, just under the 2 years. But this one has already been working. And apart from this, then other partners have uploaded the same mechanism of systems, and we have pockets. I might not have the number of facilities, but this is actually running. Yeah, so ICT has talked about boosting and improving connectivity, but as a stopgap measure, we have worked with what we call network boosters. So basically, they amplify the cellular network that is there. So once you put in a facility where there's a problem, then everything just goes seamless. And then we have avoided the internet. So if you avoid the internet and work with a private network, they are through a private APN linked to, and okay, IT guys will tell you it's an MPLS connection, basically meaning a private, completely private network. There is seamless connectivity. I think there's a time in the country where internet was down, and Safaricom internet was down, and people complained, but these facilities never realized that that problem was there because they were basically on a private backbone. So this one is already there, and if someone would wish to see that, you can always organize for visits to Homa Bay. Those ones have been there for 2 years, but we also now recently have Kiambu and Muranga who are already there. Yeah, so in terms of the database licensing and all that, I think I will let the team which was working on EHR maybe be able to explain that. I think the point is we're using open source. Most of the time we've been using free databases, so maybe they'll be able to tell us how to be able to do that. For scalability, it's the same for what we can say, but in terms of once you put within the data center, the scalability is quite good. And the data center which you're using is Conda, and it's quite robust. Yeah. And then I think I've been able to handle most of the questions. Yeah, and the others were answered by my colleagues. So I say thanks very much.
Yes, before you leave, like I said, Mr. No, it's okay. It's just to finish off the conversation. I think this question wasn't answered. She has a very direct question. Do we have the cost of digitizing county? I may not have the county figures yet, but what I can give you is we have the average cost of digitizing the PCNs, which is how we're going to, which is really how the model is. As we speak, the current model, for example, is for digitizing a PCN, for digitizing a PCN, the cost is coming to around 77 million. So that is the full cost of digitizing the PCN. But for Kericho, the one we're looking at rolling out and eating as soon as possible, it has a few more PCNs because of the population. And that's one we're looking at around a cost of around 82 million per PCN. Maybe just to comment on the question that Momo asked and the one that Carolyn has mentioned, and even just to finish the timelines. I think a lot of the timelines in this group can be shortened. Because some of the tools are already there. For example, we have the PPC, we have the Public-Private Partnership Act of 2021. Once that act was pushed through, and I think it's one of the acts we need to add as one of our policy documents, because once that act was pushed through, counties, and I think through COG, counties have the right to sit down and review any type of engagement we have with a partner using legal tools that are already available. Where a PPC defines the longest duration, where a public-private collaboration is well defined, it has a duration for how long it can be. as partners are coming to enter into counties, what we used to do into the county, as a partner was coming to enter into the county, and they were coming in with they were going to implement something. At the very start of that engagement document was the exit clause, or at the end of this, who gains ownership of those schools. That means that if a partner comes and implements servers at a particular place, the person who has ownership of that as soon as the contract has ended, becomes a chief. That means if the chief decides that that is not going to be used for public planning, it's going to be used for anything, that can be seamless. For that, we don't have to develop new documents. We can write on what is already in existence and we can show at that time. That would be a bunch of trainings through COG to the different partnership coordinators and program coordinators across the country, and we now start doing a mapping of that. Then the other question maybe I can throw it to Nancy. I can request that we can look maybe in terms of infrastructure assessments. I don't think we have to go the whole model of going and doing facility surveys. We can utilize some of the tools we already have. We can find that we can get some partners to come and work with us and help us update some criteria on KMFL that we can escalate down through our HRI networks and see if we can get a quick update and a quick rapid analysis that we can use as a foundation. We're justifying how we can do this sort of analysis. So I think they can request Job and maybe through Job and Nancy to see if this is something we can do. And so as far as we can get these figures, consider as we say, these estimated figures, we need to have real fine details.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ryan, for clarifying all that. For the interest of time, I want to appreciate this group for the interest of time. Yes, I know they are. Okay.
Let me just.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the comments. I think it's our work now to read those needs and make some life easy, so we don't have to think about it. But in terms of the costing for the primary care network, I think we can work more. We can actually reduce that cost significantly. I think the initial investment for 165 facility was coming to less than that, which you have mentioned there. So running for a whole year, so we can work out. Yeah.
Thank you. Jemima, is it very funny?
No, I just wanted to mention that the question I asked about the minimum standards was partially answered, and I think the chief said that they'll be working on it. So thank you, Dr. Ryan, for specifying on the costs. And also for the Ministry of ICT that mentioned all level 5 have been connected to the fiber infrastructure. So I don't know in terms of numbers, for the PCS to work, we're talking about level 4. Out of the 46, how many are level 4?
Yeah, okay, thank you. You will follow up. I think Charles is not here. Once you can have a meeting, but I know. Yeah. So okay, yeah. We have done our assessment, and again, the division of Dr. Joe, specifically Gilbert, I know from what I had last night, they have over the money, they have over 300 million. We are doing our facility assessment, which is like what we did in 2013, whereby we had a SARA, if you have heard of the SARA. So, and the ICT is very critical in this, and I know through that output, we'll be able to get everything more clear in the next 2 to 3 months when the reports are out. And as Steve was actually whispering to me, we have done a lot of things in terms of assessments. And let's be honest to you, we know how if it's a level 4, how many service points are there. And I can tell you, in a level 4, we have around 70 to 80 service points in terms of the infrastructure. If it's a level 3, we have around between always 17 to 24 service points. The reason I'm giving the range is because they are not standard. You can go to a level 4, which is more less than level 4. When you talk about level 6, level 5, 136, level 6, where MTRH is, and then Dr. Munga is here, and the Monkey is here, and the KNH, we are talking about around 256 there. So those service points you have done, but for the question about the non-peak connection,
I don't know. Jen, you want to go now? Jen?
Yeah. I would just say hello. Yeah, so the number of the proposed the ministry basically have been given was over, there were I think over 300, but so far around 33 complete. And they've been done by Ministry of ICT, some have been done by Google, and we've had partners who are willing to support, so I think that process will still be going on. Yeah.
Thank you. And just to summarize there, that first we know where this facility is. And I want to assure you that in Kenya, government-owned hospitals, level 4 and above, there are around 372. When you combine plus private, you get 841. When you talk about those centers, there are around 1084 for the government, and most of the health centers with other FPOs and private. Facilities, dispensaries for government will be around 5225 dispensaries for government. So already we can quantify because you have the numbers, and it's not a hard thing to come up with the actual cost into that. So I know it is now tea time, but I want to request MCA. We can discuss, please, for the interest of time. I want us to have 2 presentations because the other presenters are not in the house, and I want to welcome Diana to help us during that session. It's only 25 minutes. Then after that, we'll be coming back whereby we'll start with Dr. Ryan, and then on costing, and then we'll have Dr. Joe take us through plenary. So at that time also, if Dr. West will be around, he'll chair that section after tea. Yes, Diana? Now we are first having the 2 presentations. They are very brief presentations. So please hope for us tea is not set. We can have the 2 presenters, and because I can see them, we can just break at 11 for the interest of time. Or if we break for tea, will take a lot of time. So please take us through those 2 presentations. Then after that, we'll proceed after tea.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. So as Momo says, we need to push a little harder. So tufunge tupo kidogo. 2 more presentations, and then we can break for tea. So we have Dr. Rachel. Oh yeah. So you can come up here and perhaps tell us what that will be about. And then we'll have okay, and after Rachel, we will have Professor Boko also here a presentation. So Rachel, 10 minutes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Please greet me. Good morning. We have not taken tea, but I believe that after this, we'll have a very nice cup of tea. My name is Dr. Rachel. I work with the Ministry of Health in the research department, research and policy, but in the directorate of digital health. My group yesterday and the day before yesterday was on prior registry. And out of that, there is something interesting I wanted to share with you. And actually, before I start my sharing, I would like to ask, how many people know their blood groups here? No, don't say all of you, just be honest. Yeah, I can see most of you know you are you? You have raised your hand. You want to go a notch higher, not only knowing you are A. Why are you called A positive? Why are you B positive? What is making you to be B positive? How many blood groups do we have?
How many? Wesley. How many are they? You know, the unfortunate thing, I know most people from the ministry. So I will call you by name. So Dr. Wesley, you are telling me how many blood types do we have?
I think depending on if it's the rhesus, the only positive or negative. If it is the ABO, they should.
Thank you. How many are they? Anybody to help Brian? To help Wesley? Yes, he is very right. You are either negative or positive. But how many do we have? Yes, WHO. You know, I saw you, but I have not known your name. From the WHO?
I think there are 8.
8. Thank you. A clap for him. So very quickly, I want just to go through one of the things that we have done. And I want you to know that there is much more about blood group, not just you being you are maybe A positive or B positive. There is much we can do. And this work, I have done it. That's why you are hearing I'm a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor like Dr. Rian. I'm a medical laboratory scientist. So my background is laboratory. And because of this, I decided to look at the insights from Kenyan donor. Why are people reacting when they receive blood? What is the molecular basis of this? So that we can know whether we are going to change the policy of how we are doing things or not. And that is why today I want to present to you about molecular secrets and fields, that is decoding APO genotypes, diversity among voluntary blood donors. How many blood group systems do we have? Now, I'm not asking the blood type. How many blood group systems do you know? Mine is a discussion. I am not presenting about the system. I'm asking you what you have. You are a system yourself. How many blood groups do you have? Or do you know you think you have? Mumo, how many blood groups do you think you have? No, it is B plus. How many? ABO is a system. Rhesus is a system. But we have so many of them. When I was doing my genotyping, I have realized you people, you are a system, a full system. You are a full system. From today, even as they tell me about the infrastructure of ICT, you yourself, you are a full system. And you are well constructed. If you don't know, you are well constructed. So we have 43 blood group systems. And you have them. Do you believe you have them? If you forget everything else, there are already documented 43 blood group systems. ABO is 1. Rhesus B is number 2. We have others we call Duffy. We have others we call Kel, Kid, Cotton. So there are many, there are 43. So why do you think I wanted to tell you about this? So that at least as we talk about our systems, the ones we are going to construct, know about your system that you already carry as of now. So actually, that when we talk about blood groups, of course they are molecules. And these molecules actually, they are on the surface of the red blood cell. Do you know that your blood cell carries 43 blood group systems? Did you know that? So I'm telling you so that you can know the red cell is not only there to transport oxygen. The red cell has got many functions that it does. And without that, we are going to suffer. And I was talking about the blood group systems that are on top of the red cell. And you can see I've just listed a few. And of course, they have other functions. They are transporters, they are water channels, they are proteins, they are carbohydrates. So when we talk about you being a system, you are a food system. So these are the blood types that Wesley has told us. You are either A positive, A negative, B positive or B negative. You are O or O negative, or the very rare one, the AB or AB negative. So all these I have already marked. I can tell you in the blood group O, it's the highest. And of course,
it is the most wanted. Why? I can see people talking and I will ask you questions. Why do you think that everybody in the hospital wants blood group O?
Universal donor.
It's a universal donor, but why do you think we need blood group all the time? I will take time about this, but please allow me. You see, if our population, the highest number of people have blood group O, so the highest number of the sick people in the hospital are O. This is science we are talking. So if O is 54%, if you go to the hospitals, and those people who are unwell, you still find the highest number are blood group O. And that's what we can go, assess, and I want people to do research with me. So, why is blood transfusion important? I had talked about the 43 blood group systems, and I have told you that I'm going to talk about only the ABO, and there are within 48 genes. And I know somebody is asking, how can we do genotyping on red cells and they do not have a DNA? Of course, there are possessions in the chromosome, and they have got possessions. And I'm not here now to tell you about the possessions. Anything that is found in the DNA, you can genotype on it. So it is very important. I can see that because of the interest you have in infrastructure, your system is not getting to you, but later on, you will realize that I'm telling you, you are a system as well. So blood transfusion is important, it saves life. And you can see I'm just telling you, you can get blood transfusion. But the black man who is there, or the black lady, is already happy because roho yake haikuwa inapiga, the heartbeat was normal. But when he or she received the blood transfusion, she is happy because now all the nutrients and everything can be transported throughout the body. So it is very important that we have adequate blood. But remember, they are never without danger. Why? Because ABO actually, we have the ABO antibodies in our system. They are very active in the innate immune system. So anything that is against ABO will trigger immunological response very fast. And you have had people receiving, getting transfusion reactions. And if by any chance you give somebody a mismatch in ABO, ABO is the most clinical significant. Within 10 minutes, that person can die. That's why we have to do something we call matching or cross matching. So it's very important that we know that. But of course, they are not without some immunological because of the genetic variability, and of course, the innate adaptive immune system. So these are sort of a transfusion reaction. I don't want to torture you with many maneno, but sometimes when somebody receives a transfusion reaction, there is fever, there is chill, there is febrile. Somebody can look as if you are mad. You can have even a back problem immediately, especially if it is APO. And that's why I'm saying, if nothing is done within the next 15 minutes, we can lose this person. But now, why I'm doing genotyping, we can match you very well and ensure you get the appropriate blood that you need. So the objective of this study was to unveil biogenetic, and I can tell you that we have done so. And we have used different techniques, but we used the samples from our blood donors. And of course, the sample size, I used solvent because I needed a small sample size. And purposive sampling, yesterday somebody was telling me about using purposive, and of course I used limited automated blood grouping and the next generation sequencing. Our results were very interesting, and this is where I was coming on asking you. Ryan, you have told me you are a blood group B, but now what type of B? So in AO, we usually have O, but we can have a weak O or a strong O. But when we came to B, of course it was taken to O, it had a phenotype B/B3. So when sometimes we react, we have reactions in the hospitals, it's because of this variability. This variability of somebody being B and you are given blood group B, but I'm B3. So you will have some reaction, of course. And those are the variability we are saying. It's very important we check on them. When we are a phenotype A, those people who are A like me, you are either A1, A1B, A2, A2B. So you can see that we are having several types of genotypes. Of course, we have AX. I did not expect to have AX in Kenyan population, but in this study, we did get AX. And of course, we have phenotype A1 and the A1B. Those are the people who are called A1B, are the ones we call AB. AB. You remember we had AB in our 8 phenotypes. So it's very important, especially, I'm not saying that we do it for everybody. Those people who are sickle cell, those people who are receiving cancer treatment, especially in blood transfusion, those people who are receiving dialysis, actually we need to match them. We need to do genotyping because I start here and my sister-in-law is in the hospital. She has already been alloimmunized. All the time you give her any type of blood, she's so, but she's reacting to all of them. But deep within myself, I know it is because of this variability. But in Kenya, we are yet to establish how to deal with this. So, in conclusion, this work actually showed us most AB mutations are associated with the new single nucleotide variation of mutation. And of course, O was the most common genotype at 52%, B was 14, A1 12, A1, A2 5.6, AX 4.6, B stroke B3 4.6, A2 2.8%, weak A2, and of course A1B, A2B, who are the rare blood types were 1%. That is AB. But now when you are telling me you are AB, you are either A1B or A2B. So that's why there is need of that genotyping. And in my recommendation, actually I'm here standing here because I have this great team who are already giving us systems. We need to generate red cell genomic library for Kenya. We need a genomic database in Kenya. So you are here, you are our supporter, our partner. Even as you think on the areas of where you are supporting your systems, think about if you can help us have a red cell gene bank or database. I have the data, but I don't know where to keep it. I do have the data of the 43 blood groups, and I need support to complete this one. You do know that even if this PhD is here, it will not help if I cannot achieve the implementation. Of course, there is initiation of a blood grouping reference laboratory in Kenya. I was called by University of Nairobi recently. They are having patients who have already reacted, especially even expectant mothers, but there is nothing much we can do. We don't have a blood grouping reference laboratory in our country. We have to ship the samples outside. It takes a bit of time. We have to pay some licenses, but it is always very good. So I'm also looking for funding allocation in this field of science to support more research in the country in regard to blood group genetic and precision medicine. That's where I'm saying genomic. Once we have this database, it can become the database for the genomes of our people. Remember the person from the people registration said they have started registering the children from birth. We need now to do genomic for those children. In future, we will have people who have their genomic profile. I wanted us to look at the introduction of extended serological typing, but I looked at what Dr. Waka presented, and I looked at what we said in our client registry. We will need people to have their blood groups. We can do it from this year. Because we can use a box laboratory where we can move with our laboratory, and in those PCNs, we can be able to enter the people's blood group as early as possible. So I'm not just here to tell you about blood groups. I'm also telling you how we can work together in our UHC to achieve it and to ensure that we have our blood groups from our PCNs, and then if people are moving forward, they move with their blood groups. And even in our country registry, we have already entered or registered blood groups of people. And as I said, I really want you to think of this. I am a research person, and I came here just to let you know that the Ministry of Health, through the research desk, we can collaborate with you. And they are getting immunization.
Yes, so thank you very much, Rachel. I think a little diversion there from technology to issues about blood groups, the systems, the genotypes. Yeah, so we will not take questions for this presentation. However, if you have any question, please meet Rachel during tea break. We can take up that. So we'll quickly move on to our next presentation. And this is going to be a presentation by Professor Boko on the MOH Virtual Academy. So he's going to do that. He's going to tell us what is the Virtual Academy, and how do you upload courses, and how do you benefit from it. And of course, if you want your course uploaded, who can you link up with? So that's the short presentation that Professor Boko is going to be doing. Meanwhile, team leads for the different thematic areas, you are requested to log into the folder that was shared by Dr. Emma, I think on the first day. The implementation plan template has been reviewed, and therefore you need to update it. Team leads, please log into the folder that was shared by Dr. Emma on day 1. The implementation plan guide has been reviewed. You need to update your content. Thank you. Professor Boko, you're welcome.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Yeah, sorry I'm coming here when we're supposed to be having tea, but I'm going to take a short time. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, oh, thank you very much. So we have been talking about what we want to do in the context of the digital health superhighway, and a lot of proposals have been on capacity building, and that is this opportunity to just say a few things about the MOH, is a Ministry of Health platform for delivering courses to healthcare workers around the country using electronic means. So the MOH Virtual Academy, once again, is a Ministry of Health platform that provides courses using synchronous or self-paced learning, where the healthcare workers who want to take courses can do self-registration and follow the courses at their own pace. That's why we are saying it's online, but then it is asynchronous. So you can follow at your own pace based on the convenience, your flexibility, your work commitment, and all that. So to access the platform, the URL is provided there. So it is elearning.health.go.ke, and the platform is available and it has courses that you can follow. So there is self-registration. It's also possible to register or log in using your Gmail credentials. The platform is also available for offline access. To do with the Kenya Health Information System. We have a course on care and health. We have a course on DHIS2. So we have a number of courses there. We also have a course on EMRs, based on Kenya EMR. We have a course on antimicrobial resistance, early diagnosis of cancer for healthcare workers. We have a course on COVID-19, was very useful during the COVID period. We have a course on integrated TB, leprosy, and lung disease. We have a course on HPTs, public health emergency management. So we have even a course on health information system security and course on gender-based violence. We have a number of them. At the end, they're also supposed to take a quiz, and once they complete the course, they are able to download the certificate. These certificates are signed, and they have been signed by because each of the courses is aligned to the work that is being done by a program or admission at the ministry. So the courses are signed by those who are responsible for those divisions or programs or departments. And then we have also had, the courses have been accredited by 7 regulatory bodies, and so the certificates can be submitted by the health workers to the regulators for award of CPD points. So some of those accrediting boards are there. We have 7 of them so far. The Nursing Council, Pharmaceutical Research Board, the Clinical Officers Council, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council, Public Health Officers and Clinicians Council. We are at advanced stages to get accreditation, the same as Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and the Technologies Board, as well as the Kenya Veterinary Board. We have a course on AMR that is, that can be followed by veterinary officers. So some of the features of the platform are that one, it supports online asynchronous learning as well as offline learning, as already mentioned. There is also support for gamification. So we have currently implemented at platform level, we have implemented the leaderboard, and we have at course level, we have also implemented the use of badges. There is also support for learners with disability. So it is possible, for example, to adjust the interface to suit different needs of the individual learners. We have also implemented interactivity. For example, we have courses which are done using SCORE, where the learner can, for example, respond to questions at different points while following the course. Of course, the platform also supports discussion, forums, and that is also another way of achieving interactive learning. Then we have also trained course managers for the various courses. We encourage learners. They can answer questions. They can be there to respond to maybe issues to do with the subject matter that the learners may be having. We also have analytics that is used by those providing learner support to be required. We have also trained champions at the counties who can speak for the platform and can answer any done by MOH, CPD policy you have mentioned. Then we have the platform was initially meant for health information system courses, but it can take all courses that health workers need to learn about. So like we have seen I think the last group that presented talked about training, workers on aspects of infrastructure. It can also such courses can also be hosted on the platform. So currently, as we have seen, we have over 13 courses. Some of them are from MOH, others are from MOH IPs. So they come from different sources, so long as they're geared towards health workers. So we currently have over 10,000 users on the platform, and besides the 7 CPD accreditation boards, we have also been engaging with the Pharmacy and Persons Board, and so that will be another board that for purpose of CPD accreditation. So maybe one of the questions is who can host courses on the platform. So it can be, I've already mentioned, is anybody who is doing capacity building for health workers. What is the process? Maybe that is an important part to look at. So to host courses on the MOHDA, you reach out to the Health Informatics Unit within the Division of Digital Health, Health Informatics Policy and Research. And so the courses are developed through a process that involves curriculum design, content development, design or instructional design of the course, conversion of the course so that it can be ready to be uploaded to the MOH DA, validation. So there are also guidelines for validating the courses to make sure that the courses are ready. Then there is hosting, training of course managers. So for every course, it is good practice to have the end. This collection of say is good. I just sure, but it is good. Though it depends on the particular course offering. Program owners have taken, for example, identification of course managers who were able to follow the learners through, and when they were able to do that. Actually, the completion rate was very high. I'm not able to quantify, but there are some measures which can be taken to realize that.
Yeah, so thank you. So perhaps just to add, I think it takes a lot of effort from a few other people, depending on what course we're taking, to ensure that we have high completion rates, including the motivation in terms of a certificate for the CPD course that are being added. So for some courses, the completion rates are quite high. For some of them, moderate, and that requires a push from the specific program and for the course validation. Thank you. So we will, again, short reminders to team leads. Please log into the folder. I think Dr. Emma has shared that folder again a few minutes ago. Please log in and check on the implementation guide and update your section. So we'll be taking a break. When we come back after tea, we have a session that is getting towards the finalization of this day and the finalization of the whole week. So we'll have a few presentations from the heads, and that session is going to be chaired by Wesley. Thank you. Oh, tea, 20 minutes.
But then I'll show you.
Summary is very accountable government work. But it's not all yes. So not really going to 60% of the lines of sales, marketing, let me interview now, sir. That's right. So much here.
Now I'm saying 70 F, but I've looked for it's only 70. So I don't actually look it up. So I don't know, is it by searching for the name or maybe I'm searching. Let me search the whole worksheet, but I'm so surprised that all the 40 days are there, except this one. So umeona 80 series, 1, 60, 50, but 70. It's actually 70. It's called 70. 70, yes, 70 F. When I search for that. So is there like usually you approve per series or per exact? Zote ziko hii, naona kuna 80s, 90s, 100 zote, but 70s zote, 60s, 50s zote ziko. So is there, I don't know, is there someone can get away with it or someone it has to be exact? This one is the one which is the least for the office. Is there some, okay, maybe we'll go here, me, I'm looking at it, but they'll get 80 series hakuna 70. There's nothing that's 7, and there's so many. I'm so surprised. Kuna 60F, okay, there's 100F, yeah, 70F. I'll do that. You're 60 ama 80. Which is better, 60F or 80F? 60F is better. Within those two. So 60F, let me do that. Man, so let me do that. Hello. So let me do that faster. Thanks, Logan. The one thing is not the one thing there's hundreds of approved like 50 series, 100 like research. So what you need to do is either you do take approval, have to process, or take a screenshot of your 60F, at least something like this, and then you screenshot, give to me how I do it, then you move on to approve. What? No. I'm saying either take approval which will take maybe a number of days, but here it's about because so here to we just attach something which I'll share something with you, a screenshot, but it shows 60 or something. So I'm sure it's a 70 FC about another 70 but it take a 60 years, then you say, then what you upload, I don't know if someone doesn't know video account and then we do that one. But your number, that time you can make sure you put your number. Then you can know how to do that one. So I'm saying
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. This is my brother.
Watu wadownload. Nasikia kwa
So who's paying now?
Sasa kasema leo.
So your accountant could have it.
Internal. Ukina gari they come. Yeah. So nasumbuliwa na watu wa yani wanaandika tu stori zao.
Hiyo job ilianza ama bado? Ukina.
Ilianza.
Okay.
Yeah, hata tusha we have a number. I think we should be around between 300 to 400.
Hizo ones za polepole West Africa. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Hizo za 150 kwanza, 100, 200, 500.
Ilianza when last year.
Okay.
So hiyo ndio tunaongeza staff polepole, but the government is receptive, so we don't need as many resources there. But nyinyi mumeiva huko, sisi tunajaribu.
So ni kwanza anza. I think we worked with Muso for a long time. And that gave us an in our ministry, Yamali. And then based on what you've been able to do there, it's opened up other doors.
Yeah. But I noticed the West closed also.
Very.
They are very close.
Choma hapa, umechoma
Choma the
wote.
entire West.
Yes. To succeed here,
Something I did when I was there.
you have potential to get into the others.
Yeah.
Yes. So they
Most
talk a lot.
likely, what made us is because of the fact that, but the thing about there, you know, it's Lini, it's Comcare. So, between you and I, I'm not excited about but I'm quite genuine with
Wamedeploy Comcare, but they want to switch. They're trying to see what you can
They're
offer.
trying to see, but
Ni ngumu.
watu watarudi tu hizo ingine. It's the government. It wasn't like we didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Makes sense. Even Malawi just decided tracker. Serikali.
Eventually wataswitch. Unaona pia Uganda walijislip into CHT na hii wanaita ni
Open SRP.
naona
Open SRP imeanza.
Imeshaanza. They did the
QT. I think they started doing QTs. I think they started doing QTs either last week or this week. For 2 districts.
Mimi nilishaona Comcare like
everyone is trying to survive.
Niwache kukua
Hata ungepewa hiyo chance ungekuwa tu hapo.
I know, yeah. Ni venye tu niko hii side.
Hivyo tu.
Ninaongea hivi.
Everyone is trying to.
Yeah, we should allow everyone to in essence. Yeah, as long as we're able to do this exchange.
Yeah.
We should be good.
But
I always wonder if we are in that. Do we have the maturity? I think there should be some sort of like to limit how many can be.
Yeah, focus, yes. You can have too many.
Yeah.
And then fragmentation. Yeah, I think the trade-offs. Too much choice is a curse. Too little choice is also a curse.
We should also try and see what Uganda is actually in Uganda. And also Rwanda is in Rwanda. Like he has a community order. Like that's why they try. Okay, for lack of a better word, I think Kenya will take it. Patikane hapa nikisema. But it needs to be.
You know, I think the challenge is satisfying. You know, you have so many, and you know, it's hard to take back a no.
And I don't think it's only Spain. Yeah. Like, if you look at the tools, like my parents are in the education sector, the tools that are there for education. Now, because she knows I'm in digital health, even she's a principal. They're always in her school trying to market tools. So she calls me and says, so that tells you.
When you're digital.
So many. Yeah. Like, mom, just choose the one that will give you end to end so that you're not doing this for distraction, then this for it's a good thing that everyone tries the best. It's a good thing that we're trying to exchange it. But we should give it a caveat, like, or a timeline. If by this time you not have been able to integrate with other things, okay, think of going somewhere else,
adopting something else.
Adopt someone's, and work with whatever space. It's coming.
Yeah, to get to a point where it's no longer all smiles, but cars.
Actually, I admire when Uganda does that. Let's see how it goes. And Rwanda.
Sawa.
Kagame kwanza. Simwende huko
Rwanda.
from the talk we have and your reactions, we'll be able to get to understand basically how the framework is supposed to be. Now, many people have asked us, why did we go the NIMS way? Why do we have IPRS? Why are we endeavoring to develop a UPI? The best way I can explain for now, I'm sure in the future engagements, we'll now be able to take you through a proper presentation that we can be able to share with you and share with the public for purposes of clarity. Now, very interesting explanation here. All of you are aware about the NEMIS system of education, where we normally have all the children enrolling into any educational facility in Kenya are supposed to be having a NEMIS number. Some declaration was made about 6, 7, 8 years ago that you cannot have your children getting into school without a birth certificate. This thing got many people by surprise, because we realized that your child wants to go to class 1, the child wants to go for KCP or KCSE exams, and that could not happen without a birth certificate. So what happened? There was a mad rush for birth certificates, a crazy mad rush for birth certificates, and people could not be able to obtain the birth certificate on time. So this created an opportunity for brokers to come and fill in that particular gap. So we ended up having so many birth certificates which are not issued from the relevant office. And these birth certificates, when were presented to the headmaster or the principal of whichever school that the child was enrolling, the headmaster or the principal of the school could not be able to verify whether this birth certificate is genuine or fake, because there was no media for verification of a birth certificate. So this, the principals and headmasters accepted those birth certificates as much as they were not authentic, and actually registered the children in NEMIS using those birth certificates. What's the import of this? Your child goes through the educational journey, the Kenyan educational system. They sit for KCP, for KCSE, they register for the other exams using a fake birth certificate, and that has happened a lot. By the time this child goes to get a passport in the Office of Immigration, the Office of Immigration is connected to the civil registration system, it's called CRPSS, for the department that issues birth certificates. So at the point of applying for birth certificate, applying for passport, of which a birth certificate is a requirement, the immigration office takes the birth certificate that has been registered in NEMIS, that the child has been using all his or her educational life. The immigration takes a birth certificate, verifies it from the CRPS system, and finds that this birth certificate is not existing in the system, meaning it is fake. So now the child is forced to go back and apply for a new birth certificate so that he or she can be able to get a passport. You realize that particular complication. So what are we saying? So much of the birth certificate which already exists in the NEMIS system are authentic, quite a number. And yet, it has been used for the educational line for that particular student. So based on this, there are good reasons that I'm giving you as a justification for why we are going for the UPI. Another example is when you want to get, when you lose a birth certificate, you apply for another one. The birth certificate that you lost had a number. And that number is supposed to be a unique number, by the way. But when you lose a birth certificate and apply for another one, the replacement you get comes with a different number. Are we together? Yes. I want to be very serious about this, because at the end of the day, you as health practitioners, you're going to be deeply involved in the generation of this UPI. So we find that in the life cycle of ourselves, not even minors per se, because all of us are probably have birth certificate. You find in our life cycle, you lose a birth certificate, you get another replacement with a different number, you lose it again, get another with a different number. So then what does that tell you about the birth certificate? At the end of the day, it really does not qualify to be an identification document. If it's coming with different numbers every time you replace it, then that's a problem already. Because you see, assuming the first birth certificate before you lost it, you used it to apply for a passport. You lost, you got another one. And then you lose the passport. You go again and apply for the passport, and they ask you again to bring a birth certificate. You take another birth certificate again with a different number. That's really the challenge. That's the second example. The third example is you find that at some point in the Kenya registration journey, it was not a requirement for you to submit a birth certificate to get an ID. I'm sure some of you have done it. Myself, when I was applying for my ID, I was not told to bring a birth certificate, and I'm not very old. So you realize that the National Identification Office, which produces your ID number, is not interlinked with the Civil Registration Office that produces the birth certificates. Because if you can get an ID, you got a birth certificate. Then what was the purpose of the birth certificate in the first place? Yeah, so you see now, those three examples I'm giving you clearly explains that there are a lot of discord in terms of the identification journey, right from the time you're born up to the time you get an ID. That is why we are now going for unique identifier at birth. So how are we proposing to do it? In all the health facilities, both the public and private, we will be able to set up a system whereby if a child is born, the health practitioner, the healthcare providers in each of those facilities will become agents of registration. So when a child is born, what they do as the health practitioners in that particular facility, they capture the birth through what is called a notification. They capture the birth, they raise a notification, and then they submit the notification into the master population register. Once that notification is submitted into the system, we will now be able to have the civil registration registrars who are gazetted and mandated by law to register a birth. So at the point of the health facility, what they do is not a registration, it's a notification. Then when they submit it to the system, now the civil registrar who is within the range where that particular facility is, because those registrars will be matched, they'll be able to pick that notification to the system, process it, and then once they complete the process, they complete the registration. And then they issue a unique number. A unique number is generated in the system upon completion of the registration. Once a unique number is generated in the system, it is sent to the guardian or the parent of the child. Because at the point of notification, the guardian of the parent will give his or her telephone number. So we send the message notifying the parent or the guardian that your unique number for your child is everything. And if at all, during the registration process in the system, there is something which is missing from the registration, another message is sent again to tell the person to provide the other details which are required. So you realize that the birth notification is captured at the health facility point. Then how will these health facilities be able to do the notification? Currently, they're doing it manually. And the manual capturing of the manual process of developing the notification is not very efficient. Because you see now, when they do it manually, the submission of that manual record to the registrar's office for processing of the registration takes time. If a hospital facility is in the farthest corner of Wachia or Sukana, before that birth notification manual record is submitted to the registrar who is in Wachia County headquarters, it can take even 2 to 3 months. So you realize that the registration to be completed, there is a big lapse of time there. So right now, the design we have is that we have about 20,000 biometric kits, biometric tablets with the lens for fingerprints. These 20,000 tablets, we are developing a software solution which will load into those tablets and then supply all those tablets to all the health facilities across the country. And then subsequently we train the health practitioners who are in those facilities where births occur. So now, after we do that, then the health practitioner will be able to capture the birth, raise a notification, submit it. Those biometric devices are Android in nature, so they will submit a record to the system. And then I will process that particular record in the system. So that's how we have decided. So all health facilities will be captured. So as we talk about this, you come in very strongly because we're talking about health facilities. And these health facilities are the same health facilities whereby I believe you are mapping community health workers, the 100,000. So now a question comes in here. What is the connection between how do we harness, how do we be able to synergize the fact that we're going to be having 100,000 community health workers working all over the country and mapped to several health facilities? How do we synergize their work for them to be able to assist the healthcare providers in terms of ensuring that there is 100% capturing of all parts? So from our State Department standpoint, from the discussion we've been having with the PS is requesting that we partner with you and find a way of ensuring that as we roll out the community health workers around the country, we see how we can be able to use them to assist in the coverage of public patients. Because at the end of the day, we are targeting to have 100% birth and death coverage across the country. So here we have a challenge that I'm throwing to you. As we keep on discussing, let's see how we can be able to use the 100,000 to establish to become either agents, ambassadors, whatever, to assist us in terms of rolling out the UPM. Now, for the parts that are occurring outside a health facility, we have the assistant chiefs who by law, by the Civil Registration Act, are identified as agents of registration. And these assistant chiefs also, we have contacted them to give them those biometric kits also. Maybe some of them may not be very conversant on how to use, but at least at the end of the day, they have young people around the group able to help them to do the notification using those biometric kits. So we'll have both parts happening within the facility and outside. A question has been raised in terms of the community health workers, the 100,000. From where I come from Samburu County. The community health workers I know, the ones that are interacting with, are not very much educated. Yeah. Some of them may not be able to handle a simple smartphone. So maybe again, I don't know how we are going to do it, but in the event that a community health worker is not able to fill records or forms as we mandated them to do, what happens? Who's going to be assisting these community health workers? So these are facts. From my area, at least I know, a good number of them cannot even read or write, but they're very effective in their work. So as we keep on improving their capacity and mandating them to do more work, let's see how we can be able to help them to be able to serve us according to what we're expecting by helping them maybe get someone to help them to fill the forms or to process various health requirements which we're going to mandate them to be doing. So for us as the State Department for Immigration, we have about 6 departments, which initially used to be under the large State Department for Interior. The State Department for Interior was split into 2. So we have Interior as a State Department with a separate PS, and State Department for Immigration coming out of the regional Interior with a different PS. Our PS is called Professor Job. And within that particular State Department, we have civil registration, the one that's dealing with the birth certificates. We have National Registration Bureau, the one dealing with IDs. We have immigration itself, the one for passports. We have NIMS, that's my department, that's the one I'm in charge of. Then we have IPRS, then we have refugees, and we have e-citizen services. You remember the presidential directive for all government services be processed through e-citizen. So that is just a lot of the departments that we have under our State Department. And if you look at those departments critically, you realize that all those departments are mainly dealing with personal identification. Personal identification, passports, immigration, NRB, IDs, CRS, NIMS, and IPRS. We are now the ones developing the master population register. So this department, this tech department is very key. It's very key to the extent that we're dealing with personal identification. So for now, we really need to see how we harness our different resources to enable the success of the unique identified populations, and again, in the development of the master population register. I mentioned earlier, but I need to repeat it again here, that we need to develop FAQs which are very clear. The journey we walked through in the development of the master population register as this was not easy, because public perception keeps on changing. When you talk about unique identifier, some people accuse you of bringing the devil's number. It's not the book of Revelations. I don't know which chapter it is. It talks about you cannot be able to buy, trade, sell, do anything if you don't have that number. That is a major, major concern for the religious sector. So I just give you an example. So as you do your FAQs, please respond and be alive to that particular fact that you'll be misunderstood a lot. And then again, we in the Ministry of State Department for Interior for Immigration, we're also developing a UPI for children and family. You are developing a UPI, which is a back-end number for you to be able to connect the client on the medical journey. But you see, it's still a UPI. So clarity has to come out there to distinguish our UPI, and our UPI is going to be public facing, US will be back-end, so we need to distinguish that. So basically, that's what I can say for now. Otherwise, for the presentation directive that we give out this unique number in the next 3 months, more or less about 2 months remaining, we are working very hard. We have several teams who are engaged in the different facets to enable that particular endeavor to be completed. Now, I need to clarify something. We are talking about giving the UPI for children and family. That's why we're talking about capacitating all the hospitals to be able to issue notifications, which will process the system to issue a registration, to complete a registration and issue a number. But now, what about the children who are born before the date that we start the launch? That will be the launch. We have the children who are minors, 18 years and below. These ones, we'll also be able to give them a unique number. The process that we're going to undertake to do that is still in discussion. We're still discussing on how we do it, because remember what I said earlier, we have digitized all birth certificates in the country. We did that under NIMS, so NIMS came in, went from the country and did digitization of all manual birth certificates in all the civil registration offices across the country. But you realize when we did that, you have duplicate birth certificates which have different numbers. But at the end of the day, that database, if we interrogate it properly, we can be able to deal with the person. Forget about the number. We deal with the person, distinguish the person, and issue a unique number from the system for the 18 years and below. For the adults, your unique number will be your ID. Your current ID becomes the unique number, but we don't bring in confusion along the way. So you realize that now we'll be having 2 sets of unique numbers. The ones for adults who already have an ID becomes a unique number, and then now for the 18 years and below, they'll have a unique number which might be having more numerals than our unique number, which is the ID currently. So as we roll out the unique number, as we roll out the digital identity, of course, by law, we are supposed to do a lot of stakeholder engagement. And I believe what I'm doing now is part of it. Of course, there'll be more engagement with you as experts. So just be ready, just preparing yourselves for that extensive interaction as we develop the unique number, because you might be having very good ideas, maybe very better than what we have. So right now, we have a team that's developing that particular system. That's why I was not even able to bring it to you, but it's still a draft. We want to complete it first, having captured all the aspects that we have been given to professionals, and then we share to you. We share to you. We'll announce, let me get your emails and spread it across for you to be able to give your views, comments about how we can improve on it before finally it gets to the phase of rolling out. So I believe basically that's what I can give you for now, but the attention we need to give is on that unique number, your health practitioners, past happening health facilities, sorry, coming very strongly. And then for the CHWs, kindly let's be able to see how we can be able to bring them on board. I don't know basically what is the exact, what are the mandates for CHW, if you're going to go with the old mandates and going to increase. But as you do that, let's include UPI as one of the mandates. Because from where we sit, the imagination is this CHW will be monitoring a pregnant woman. A pregnant woman, the monitoring ensuring that the pregnant woman goes for all the clinics that she's supposed to check. At the point of giving birth, the CHW will have known the lady has given birth. So CHW will either be able to confirm that the lady has given birth, and the CHW will have prepared the pregnant lady before giving birth. The CHW will have prepared that lady to know that when you give birth, your child will be given a unique number. So that preparation bit becomes an important aspect of the CHW. So CHW need to be properly trained on the UPI, so they can be able to walk the journey path with the lady. After giving birth, of course, the CHW is supposed to ensure that the lady takes the child for the necessary vaccination. Again, so you see now, already we are finding a role for the CHW, maybe we can improve on that. That's what I'm bringing for now. Maybe you have a lot more reactions?
Sure. Let's get any reactions, especially now that maybe our children have the fake birth certificate in the naming system. It would be good to get some of the key reactions. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I heard you talk only about birth. What of death? Because presumably the new system, so you're rolling it out only to those who are being born now. But that same child could pass on maybe a month from now. So how about the education? And then how does this tie in with the unique patient identifier that we are working on? Is it that it will plug into that, or are you anticipating that this will be a new number?
Good. Let's get the other side. Jimmy. Maybe you can go on.
Okay. One of my questions, I know you're coming up with the systems. In case of system failure in courts, the civil registration at the facility level, how will we ensure that this birth that has been born doesn't lose information at the facility level? The second question, with an example, from Busia, we treat 30 to 40% of our patients are from Uganda. How will we be able to capture this information? As we are saying that this information is a one-time up lifetime. So in the near future, these kids that have been registered, who are aliens, will we be double counting in the near future for the population of Kenya?
Let's take one more for that second.
Okay. Part of my questions have been asked, but one other one is, what are the lessons that we are drawing from the human number rollout? Because we don't want to start the unique numbers, then again, it's the same challenges that we had with the numbers. So what are we doing differently this time?
Any last one?
Okay, thank you. I think for me, it's just wondering, because we want, this is a follow-up that question of how it will integrate the client registry. Is there any documentation as far as how the information has been exposed, or will be exposed rather? Any APIs? If you want to register a patient or you want to validate a patient, this is how you, these are the endpoints you call, and this would be the response you get. These are the variables that you need to send out. So is there any documentation around that, something we can start looking into as we prepare on the works for client registry? Thank you.
quickly, let me respond to the last one. One more.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot, Philip Lemalasia, for honoring the invite and for being part of this. So my question, I think, piggybacks on a few of the other questions. It seems that technology is the simple bit of this. So how do we, as different government agencies, engage from a governance and maybe procedure kind of way? Let's say we've gotten commitments to help build the client registry. So now how do we interface on the back end with links and other citizen services who are the single point of truth so that to populate the client registry? Thank you.
All right, let me take the first one about debt. Actually, the Civil Registration Office, working under the Civil Registration Act, deals with both births and deaths. That's a very good question. Because the same process that we are using to record a birth is the same process we're going to use to record a death. Remember again, health centers, health facilities become key here. Because you know, most deaths are processed in a health facility. When if somebody has died outside, they're taken to a mortuary. Before you pick that body, you're supposed to get a burial permit. Yeah. So at the point of issuance of a burial permit, that burial permit is a death notification. Remember, birth notification is supposed to be processed and gets completed in terms of the registration of the notification for UPI to be issued. That UPI number, by the way, is supposed to stick with the child throughout his or her life until when they become adults. The same number becomes the ID of that particular person. And upon death, that number is retired. So here you have a system. You have a master population register, which is live. Yeah, let's get this very clear. It's a master population register, which is live. That's what we're developing. So when a child is born, notification is issued, registration is done, unique number is issued. That is all of this being done through the master population database. The system managing the database is supposed to be doing that. So upon issuance of the unique number, it becomes the only number in the lifetime of that person. So at the point of death, when a burial permit, not a death certificate, burial permit, when it's issued, the same is issued through the system. The same burial permit, that's the identification, is issued through the system. So what happens in the system? The system, upon issuance of a burial permit, knows that the person is deceased. So here is a very interesting situation. Because you are born, you get into the system. You die, you exit the system. The current situation is very different. The death database is not even connected to the ID database. That death database, as it is now, is not connected to the human resource system of government offices. So somebody dies, is buried, but the salary is still coming. The relatives who have an ATM of the deceased, they continue drawing the salary from the ATM. Because they don't go to the bank counter, they do it from the ATM. When it comes to voting, as contentious as our voting as whatever system is, we have had cases where you hear politicians complaining of dead voters voting. How is that happening? Because IBC, their database, is not connected to the dead register. So at very many different points in time, they have to call upon the civil registration office to come and sit with them to try and clean the register and remove the dead. But if they have to come, they have to call each other, they have to plan a seminar to go and do that. So here the system development is going to be live. So at any point in time, you can click that system and know how many people are existing in this country. Because it captures the born and the deceased. So you can say, I think that can be able to juggle your minds. And you can imagine now what would be the other attendant benefits of having such a live system. The banks will be able to be alerted this person is dead. So the banks block that bank account. The HR personnel They're able to know this person is dead, they stop processing the son. IBC the same. They clean their register, it's auto clean. So that's the benefit of having that system. So death will be recorded. And then when you want to get a death certificate, that's not upon the completion of the registration of death. You come and pick a death certificate, and then you go and process the benefits of the deceased. Because at the end of the day, those benefits will have been blocked upon issuance of the burial permit. So you realize before you even marry, it's not your day in the system. Now, I did not mention this, I need to mention at this point, the birth certificates that we're going to generate after we issue a new PI for an newborn child will be a digital birth certificate. So, you see the way you print a KRF certificate, that's the same way we'll be printing a birth certificate. And of course, you'll be having one number. So when you print it 20 times, it will come with the same UPI number. So I think it will make government save money because the current manual birth certificates are expensive, they are cumbersome, they are prone to fraud. But see now, once you're able to print a digital one any other time you want, then that's the step ahead in terms of the digital journey. Then there's something about the system failure. At the local level, at the hospital level, the recording of the birth of a child does not necessarily have to happen on a live system. Not on a live system, does not happen. Let me put it differently. We are giving those biometric kits to every facility. When a birth occurs and there is no network, for example, you record it into that particular device and then submit it when you get to where there's network. And if there's network, you forward it immediately. Now, system failure, unless it happens at the central point, because you cannot have a system failure in a facility and the other facility is the system of not fail. It is one system. It's one system. And to cover and prevent the system failure at the top level, of course, our IT system, personnel are doing the best they can to develop different mechanisms of ensuring that the system is ongoing and even going to them. And in any case, we'll be having several data storage sites. Currently, we have GPC, but there's also a major site at Konza, Techno City. We have a major site there that we would use. There's a talk of moving another storage site to DOD, Department of Defense. That will be a new site, so that will be able to spread out the risks of losing any data. Then for the border communities, now this particular device that we'll be using to capture birth and death will be a government-owned device. Very important. You realize that when you talk about data security, the whole of the process of capturing that data comes into the minds of everyone. Because data, how you collect the data, how you store the data, how you transmit the data, how you process the data, how you share the data, all these aspects come into play. And that is why the Data Protection Act talks about data protection impact assessment. When you get to develop that document, because even us, as we roll out the patient unique number, you're supposed to develop an DPIA, you realize that as you do the DPIA, you're supposed to look at all those aspects, from data capture, storage, transmission, analysis, and sharing. All those things you have to explain in the impact assessment how you're going to ensure that it's seamless. So for the border communities, the tablet, the biometric kit, being a government-owned device, is going to be locked. So we mark a certain number of parts of those biometric kits with the serial numbers are registered in health facility A, and they are locked there. You cannot move that facility to another. You cannot move that device to another facility. Because we realize that for the borders, as we say, we've been having cases whereby a child is born across the border, and then the auntie or the uncle pretend the child is his or hers, and then bring the child across to claim for registration. So they're trying to stop that by ensuring that this device is locked. It's locked. And in fact, even for the registrar, who by law is the one to process the registration completed and issue a unique number through the system. They cannot be able to do that if they're not sure the record sent from the device is coming from our device. Because you see now when the registrar processes and completes the registration, that particular person, that registrar, by law, is supposed to be accountable for that registration. If at all, after some time, or through investigation, it's realized that that registration was not by child born in Kenya, the registrar will have to answer for that. So to protect the registrar and to ensure that at least we don't capture people born outside, we are locking those devices. That's very, very important. And I believe also, as we give the CHWs the funds, we need to see how you can lock it to a certain area and a certain CHW. Try and see how you can do that. Now, lessons learned from Huduma. Huduma was done a bit in a hurry, as all of you know, but at the end of the day, it had to be done. Now, what did we learn from there? One of the major lessons we learned from is the legal, from the legal front. From the experience of Huduma is how the Data Protection Act came to be. Because we're taken to court that we're developing a master population register without an overarching Data Protection Act. So we had to very quickly rush and pick a bill that was existing on data protection, and it had been developed by means of ICT, but had not been completed. So we picked it and completed the bill, took it through public participation, parliament, etc., and it was accepted, and we won the case. Now, another lesson is that public engagement. Public engagement is a serious thing. You know, by law, there is no threshold of what is the maximum or minimum number of public participation meetings you're supposed to have. It's not there by law. It's the courts which have been interpreting it differently. So for your case, for the benefit of this particular project, I believe you need to do serious stakeholder strong public. Not stakeholder, they need people like you. Your language is for you to understand. When you go to the public in the village, it's a different scenario. So the advice we can give from my experience that at least even if there's no minimum or maximum, there have been many cases in court about public participation. So if someone was taken to court and uphold the earlier rulings. So it's advisable to do it at least per county. Per county, and you can take advantage of the very elaborate structure of our national administration. The DCs, the chiefs, they can be able to really help you. Then you make sure that you record every public participation meeting, you record both in video and registration of participants. So if you do for 7 counties, you can help. That's another lesson. The other lesson we can talk about here is that timing. The timing of your initiative. Timing. Politically. Because still right now is the best time. Yeah, the government is still almost a year in office. When it gets to the 3rd year, politically things start changing. For us, we are affected seriously by the timing. We started off well, but we lost 2 years in court. So when the case was in court, we had an injunction, we could not proceed. 2 years down the line, COVID came, another almost 1 year. So we lost a year because of COVID, 2 years in court. By the time now we are ready to continue now to the final rollout, campaign imeanza. So timing, very, very important. So look at how your rollout is. I remember yesterday there was a discussion that you cannot say you're rolling out in a year, maybe 6 months. That's an important point. Your timing is very key. Linkages with government departments. Now, the master population register works the same way that IPRS works. IPRS actually is a master population register. It's only that now we're improving on it and putting in more fields into it. So when you develop your database, it should be able to link with ours for verification. And it should be good because now we'll be having an improved, enhanced master population register. So as you link for verification purposes, you'll be able to get more output than it is currently. I believe documentation that is available. Yes, we have quite a bit of documentation we will share with you for the benefit of the initiative you're having. So as we continue walking the journey, we'll be able to provide as much as we can. We already shared the documents we had on data protection. Your team is having it, so that you can be able to do an impact assessment very fast without any complication. Otherwise, thank you so much. God bless you. We are walking the journey together.
I think you can give a better clap. Give a better, way better clap. So let's just warm, and then we'll give you 3 happy claps. That's all. 1, 2, 3, go on. Thank you very much. I think that was very, very insightful. I don't know, I'm also reminded to remind the technical leads to ensure that you're completing the implementation matrix. And I think just from the presentation, I didn't see, did any of you see anybody doing data protection impact assessment in their activity? Which group was that? The other groups were just looking at me. Even me, I was there. We did not do data impact assessment, especially for the client registry and the shared health records. We do realize we need to go out there and ensure that we've done that impact assessment. I only know more about impact assessment when you're building a house. You have to get someone to say impact assessment and the rest. Very, very well. And then the other thing probably which I would really want us to remember is the technical needs. Please, once again, I'm repeating, ensure we finish that particular matrix. Now, it will be my honor to invite our next presenter who will guide us through the costing. Dr. Ryan, very, very fast so that you'll be able to look at it and ensure. And please ensure you sign in on all the forms because you've just been reminded about stakeholder engagement. Don't miss it that industries. That will be part of our stakeholder engagement. Thank you. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wesley. Thank you very much, Dr. Wesley. We're coming to the end of the workshop. I know we're getting a bit tired, but I think it's been a successful week. My first slide was not about I'll cover costing in a different way. I won't talk about the numbers because there's still a bit of work to do. So we'll just go to the concluding bit. My last slide was, my first slide of the presentation, as we set up, was on just taking us back to the whole week. What we've achieved. The mentality we said that we're going to focus on. And this was the theory of change. But Philip has pretty much talked, his presentation has pretty much taken us through the whole theory of change in terms of what we're about to achieve. He's discussed all of the units in one or the other. Discussed the importance of having an overall goal that we're trying to achieve as we try to implement this highway. We've been able to see how different things are interlinked. If we implement this digital superhighway, if we are working together, we clean our voter register. That is impact beyond healthcare. That's impact beyond healthcare, and how different things are linked. How different things are linked through causal pathways. So, through causal pathways, and the importance of having just continuous learning and adaptation models. Stakeholder engagement has been covered pretty well, and the importance of context sensitivity. So I won't have to go through all of this. So we can just jump into it. Day one, what happened? The OH we came, I remember that morning we came, we sat here and we spoke for a whole day. Afternoon, we got insight from partners who have been implementing this. At this particular day, the thing that came out very clearly was the silos of implementation that we've had on this journey. We're talking about what's the situation on the ground. Day two, we had a few moments of self-reflection, determine the current status of the superhighway on all its constituent components. Once we were in our individual breakout groups, all 11 of them, we made recommendations and we had very, very, very deep discussions. We have very good documentation. We'll share the reports from this. Each group is giving us about 20-30 pages of deep discussions, and we're going to see how to package this knowledge in the best format possible to guide this journey such that it's anchored in a way that even if we're not here, even if someone else is doing this job, the journey still remains very clear from the start. Then we started making the preliminary commitments and expressions. Many partners here would come and say, we're interested in this, we're going to build this particular components. Day four, And all this, by the way, let me just say, the most impressive thing has been we had Mandamano the whole of this week. We had a few of Mandamano the first 2 days and the reality of Mandamano. So this room has been pretty full. We've had very opinionated recommendations being made for how best to operationalize and effectively implement the digital superhighway. We've made, again, commitments were made, and we've also shared our collective opinions about the maturity status to the digital health superhighway. I think it was in day 2 and 3, where we all suggested just making sure that we bring this group together through informal knowledge, some mechanisms like WhatsApp groups for the HIV, so we can find ways to keep this discussion happening and also give you mechanisms of keeping MOH accountable to its desire to implement this desire to implement the highway. Then day 5 is the day for the plan of the implementation. At the end of today, we hope to articulate a shared vision for digitizing Kenya's universal health coverage. I think for many of us, this has been done. And it's been done so well that the actually particular components we discovered that we missed in that architecture that have to be updated. We did have the vendor registry. That was a brilliant one from Dr. Mure. I'll say I have to say that as a very interesting one. The other component I think that we missed out on is from the county perspective, and this is in terms of public health officers. Public health officers go a main component of revenue generation for counties. They move from hotel to hotel, from market to market, collecting revenue and giving licenses, and that is not clear as how we have public health reporting, but we actually don't have operationalization of public health. So there's still some modifications that are going to happen, and we still have continuous engagement about this. So by the time we're starting the implementation to link the whole highway together, this will be what exactly Kenya needs. Because we are, as we spend money on this, because this is going to require a lot of human resources, a lot of financial resources, a lot of time resources, just to implement this. So once we get to this point, I think the only thing we haven't done properly is just take a pause before we go to the next bit to be done by George. We'll take a pause and just allow the group to go through a moment of reflection from where we were on Monday, how we've come to the whole discussion, the engagements you've had. We'd like to get a view from a few reflections from different participants in the crowd. So we'll take around maybe 10-15 minutes just hear from you. So I don't know who is going to start us off in terms of, do you agree with the summary of what happened this week, first of all? Should this have happened? What did you expect to happen vis-a-vis what has happened in the course of the week? And what concerns and what recommendations would you have? You don't have to speak on all of them. You can pick any particular component. And I don't know, I will start with Steve.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. I think for me, really quickly, I agree with somebody you shared with us. I think what's happened this week, in my opinion, is met my expectations at a personal level and professional level. The concerns I have and the recommendations thereafter I want to make is that we don't slow down momentum that we picked up this week, and that we all make true our commitments, because I think what we've done is just starting the journey. I think the harder part of this journey is from next week on Monday, where we start to actually implement these recommendations. Thank you, Dr.
Maybe someone else? You can ask COG to make a comment, reflect for the week.
First of all, let me just appreciate the MOH and also the partners that supported in putting this together, and invited the COG alongside the counties. We had about 6 counties represented in this workshop, and usually this allows us to have very practical experiences of what is happening in the counties, vis-a-vis the suggestions that we make and the recommendations that we put across. So thank you so much for that. I think from where I sit, counties are one of the biggest beneficiaries of this process. I know we just began some of the processes, because for a long time they've been asking what is the guidance of the national government in regards to the many systems that they are deploying out there in the county. So by having this convergence workshop, we've been able to answer this. We are on the road to the super highway, and I'm sure one time we'll get there. So thank you for that level of engagement.
Maybe I can ambush someone from private sector.
Thank you. I think what I would add is just the joy of the collaboration that comes out of this forum, and the fact that even sitting next to a competitor, you feel that the pie is so big, and we can only work together, and we have every opportunity. That's it. Thank you.
Joe?
I think I've just been excited by the turnout, the diversity of the participants, the enthusiasm with which people have been part of this. Grant said this has been a difficult week politically, but you're all here all 5 days. I mean, the room is full and it's a Friday, almost, it's a Friday afternoon here. And so, as to piggyback on what everyone has said, let's keep the momentum. As a movement, we're going to keep the momentum. So we just hope that you guys will be with us in the journey so that we can achieve this. And because you see, this is just the layer through which we're going to build other health innovations. So it's like before you start having race cars on the roads, you have to have good roads. So we want to do the good roads, and then you can bring whatever Lamborghini you want to drive on that road in terms of health innovations. So let's keep together in this journey to show we shall achieve whatever we want. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Personally, I'm excited, I have to say personally and professionally. And looking at the enthusiasm in the room, it's also a verdict that we've starved ourselves of the opportunity to meet together and basically agree on how to move forward. How I wish we had done this earlier, but I think the next best time to start is now, and we are on the right path. In the same vein, now we are aware that as Kenyans and as organizations, we are also competitors, and it's not lost to some of us, especially those of us who are not developing an active system at the moment. And therefore, we are using this opportunity to strategize. And how I wish that those great ideas that we are strategizing, we are giving the MOH the good ideas on how to achieve this. So if it will be a waste of time, the whole of this week, if we retreat back to our corners and start doing the best thing to beat our competition. And let us just be honest that it's a waste of this week if we are not helping build the common goal for the Ministry of Health. So let us be also generous enough that those great ideas that came forward are geared towards a common goal. So let us have a win-win. Let us be as competitive as we can be because we are a great country, but also let us use it for public good because that was the real purpose of this. Thank you.
Yeah, so I expected all of us to speak the same language because we are pushing our systems to talk one language. We make the systems speak the language that one wants to speak. So from my perspective, I think we have achieved what we set out to achieve because we are talking about standards to power the highway. So I think bringing people together actually was the initial step that we needed so that everyone is aware that we need to let the system speak one language and do things in a standard way. Thank you.
Yes, from Minister of ICT, I want to say actually to congratulate the health sector being the first. If you remember now, the digital discussion that is going on. Now the minister was able to bring all the stakeholders, if maybe not 100%, 90%, and reasoning from behind, whereby the user, the business community now, the owner of the business discussing how they want to digitalize, how they want to place technology to make their work better. Now we feel happy because most of the times the ICT, the digitalization, the automation becomes like an animal that is being imposed to the people. But now it's the people themselves, the business owners say that this is what we need. And this one again to apply to the MOH because we entrenched the digitalization process in the performance contract for the next 4 years. Now, whereby we expected you to have digitalized all the services in the next 4 years and will be measured in terms of the performances every financial year. So we expect this one to be a target, and it's a big achievement you have done. As a sector, I think you are the only one who have managed to bring all them. The financial part of it, of the government, has been able to do it, but they do it in silos. They have systems that do not communicate with each other. But again, you have seen the bigger picture, and I think this is the best way to, and many people will be able to evaluate now what has happened here. So thank you so much. It is a lesson learned to even the other sectors. Thank you.
My name is Francis Gidi from the University of Nairobi. And I just want to say that what we've achieved this week is not a small thing. It's not a small task. And even what lies ahead is even bigger. We have been in meetings like this before, and we find ourselves having very strong opinions for or against something. I think that has been missing this week, and I think that's commendable because that means that we are pushing in the same direction. And my prayer, just as George Owiso has said, is that after we leave this place, we continue pushing that wheel forward in the same direction. When we leave here, let us not go and pull in different directions. Let us keep the momentum going, because in as much as we may not all of us agree amongst each other politically, we are doing this for Wajir. We are doing this for our people, and let's do it with the energy and the heart that is necessary for this. So the mind is just commend everybody for actively participating, and most important, for agreeing, pushing in the same direction.
Thank you very much. I think we can continue so that we keep time and we are able to finish at the time we are going to finish the meeting. And we hear you. Or can hear from Zia.
Okay. From county levels, we appreciate the effort that we've come so far across here. We've learned quite a lot, and able to build that spirit together with you towards the county levels. However, my concern is about the issues around internet connectivities. Yes, we can be able to say that we have the cables at the county level, level 5 facilities, but now they are not really well functioning. My recommendation is that we need a quick fix for the same, because most of the time these internet connectivities they come on and off. At times it can come 1 month off, it comes 2-3 days, then it goes. So if we have that solution, then we'll have a quick fix in terms of this superhighway of digital health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. And MOH, as Job has said, MOH is committed to playing its role as a competitive player. That means we're not competing with you. We're here to coordinate conversations and lead so that we are able to use our resources as efficiently as possible in the attainment of this function. So from here, I guess we move to how do we move on from here? And I'll let Job to go.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Before I start, just wanted to say a big thank you to Director of NIMS, Philip Lemalasia. for taking the time to come, and especially for the registries, the client registry in particular. It's not going to succeed without support from citizen services and the master population registry in particular. I'm sure, before I joined government, I did really appreciate the amount of work done by civil servants. And I think it's one of the biggest fallacies that what guys in government do is come in the morning, put their coat there, drink tea and leave. From the, how well he grasps what he does, you can tell that when the Mandasa really is good at what he does, and we're going to really benefit from him and his team as we proceed with what we are doing here. So how do we move on from here? One will be to consolidate what we've done, the recommendation, and transform them into implementation strategies, a costed roadmap with clear timelines, clear roles and responsibilities. And this will be in terms of short, what are the quick ones that we can get immediately, medium term and long term. So for long-term success, we need to think about this as a long process. Although we need quick wins for us to continue with the goodwill that we've been getting. Next, we're going to establish MOH-led task forces to coordinate and support activation of this superhighway, probably through the TWGs, but we'll communicate how this will work in the next week. Then MOH with COG will have to identify and prioritize implementation counties. Some counties have come forward, we listed some of them in the next slide, but of course we can't go with a big bang approach. We have to pilot this in some counties because health gets delivered in counties, and then from what we learn through this pilot implementation, then we can scale up in some schedule. And then finalize an MOH-led costed national digital superhighway activation roadmap. Of course, we need to know how much all this costs so that it can even be easier for people who want to commit to know how much they're committing and what they're committing to. Again, this will be a collaborative effort, so we'll invite some of you to be part of this, and then we'll develop an M&D and learning plan. So now we need expression of interest to join task forces that are going to be activated for the following counties. So we're going to have October 20th, the theme is UHC, and we want to showcase some of the work we're doing in a few counties that have been identified. I think Kericho is one of them. Makueni came forward to be part of the initial pilot, so we're thinking about them. So the counties you see here, this is not, apart from Kericho, it's not cast in stone, but discussions will be held with COG and the counties. So if you're interested to be part of the teams that will be working towards the showcase on the 20th of October, please come forward. We need all hands on deck. We only have 2 months to do this, and we need to, build all the goodwill we've had and to give it, to allow us to continue beyond even the 20th. So we want to acknowledge everyone here. We've had very, very good attendance. As you can see, the room is full. On Monday, we had 133, Tuesday 158, Wednesday 121, Thursday 129, today 115. These are people who've registered. And we can't thank you enough because this journey is a collaborative one. We need all stakeholders, we need all hands on deck, as I've said. And your turnout has really been encouraging. And let's keep at it. I think Dr. Ryan, who is a networking expert, is going to create platforms for us to be, continue engaging even after this. We also want to thank all non-state partners, Health IT, USAID, UN, who else? Kehia, Helena, who helped with this, and all organizations that are here, Savannah, Elephant. Now I have to name everyone because I've committed myself, ECPAP, AMREF. So, if I'm not CDC, Palladium, Port Health, BAN, ICAP COG, the directorate itself, Office of the President, Ministry of ICT, Communications Authority, my own students, Ruel, University, IBMI, FTRH, UCSF, UN, who else? WHO, Vital Strategies, Cambridge. Actually, just shout. The international visitors, GMB, I think PATH, DC. Then the planning team, and the people, the rapporteurs, the leads, the co-leads of the teams, the session leads. I think, one thing that I was very encouraged about was the quality of work that was done in 2 days, is a testament to the brains in this room. Like, the people had 20 pages, 30 pages, 40 pages. I don't know when you wrote this. I want to just copy paste from yeah. I want to thank our MCs, Momo and Wesley. The leadership from MOH and the government of Kenya, and of course, good Lord for enabling this inaugural Convergence workshop. So next I'll invite, so we're going to have closing remarks. So this is the last of the presentation. So the next session is closing remarks, then we'll go for lunch, and then we'll be done. So I'll invite, Yep. So I was supposed to say that, but you can read it. Now that you're all literate.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very good punch to go with. So I'll just beg your indulgence. I think these days they say in adult learning, a little more 10 or 15 minutes so that we can delay for lunch, so that we can get a number of closing remarks. Kindly, I beg your indulgence. So before we go far, I think you've had acknowledgement and thanking for the Office of the President. And it would be good to get a word from Dr. Mwai. So let's give us a vision of where we're going. It actually, Dr. Mwai, I think most of you are familiar with him, either in different caps that he wears in this health sector, but he's now wearing one that touches on the Office of the President and can be able to tell us the direction in which we're heading.
Hello. Can I use this one? Sure. No. One of the keys that I have is that I'm a lecturer of the University of Nairobi. So we are used to holding things, eh? So Dr. Moidan is my name. I am among the team that is at the Advisory Council of the President. My law being health and standards, so that is where this digitization process actually falls. So it's really my pleasure to see all of you this afternoon. And what began as a small idea in the Hasaras mansion seems to have terminated into a very interesting team that for sure we have no doubt that this is the time. I like what the director said. That this is the time, this is the window. The president is actually very committed to the digitization process, and we have really made a good case that within his agenda for health, which is more close to me, the key pillars, one is on healthcare financing. Of course, we know that this is the pathway through which we get all inputs that are used to provide services, as well as prevent disease. The second one is actually commodity security. And in that, we cannot underestimate the power of digitization in making us have an end-to-end visibility of our commodities, and more importantly, enhance the savings that come with such kind of a system. The human resource for health, another very important pillar within the HE's agenda, which again, for me, where I look at it from the glue that will actually piece these things together to make sure that we not only get the efficiencies of the system, but also create a loom for those who are unemployed to actually perform their role without being in a facility. Because what you need is brain. This is a labor-intensive kind of investment. So I would think that that keeps us key as a key component that the digital system is actually coming up to fill. So from where we are looking at it from, the success of the healthcare system is actually dependent on the success of digitization. So if we lack, the goodwill, the ability to actually transform the healthcare sector into one ecosystem, because we have one healthcare system, right? That is having public, private, and FPO, so to speak. So the expectation is that all of us will be within one of a good, I've seen you have used a better word, digital superhighway. So when we were thinking about this, we call it the digital ecosystem. So it's the same thing in my thinking, but more importantly is that the private sector plays a very key role in the digital process because they have really been trying. They have been ahead of government for long, so to speak. But the government is able to have a bigger muscle and rally people towards a certain direction. So it cannot do that alone. And that is why I'm very happy to see this kind of discussion, this kind of meeting, and it's not to create any form of competition. I think there is a very big space, Dr. Ryan, right? And the expectation is that, Dr. Nyangena, you are not squeezing out the efforts of the private sector, but rather to harness it towards the certain direction where the country wants to go. I want to highlight that one of the things I've seen in government is something called emotions. More so in the healthcare sector. Healthcare sector is interested in emotional things, like people who have died. Sounds not very nice, right? You saw people who are on treatment, okay? These are the kind of things that the healthcare sector think they have emotions. Now, I have been making a case that why that is like that is because those who have emotion on other things had not been given space. So the people in this room have emotions for digitization, right? So when you come to the floor, you provide the right emotion. So you are passionate, the same way the person who felt like several children died out of malnutrition, is the same way Job will feel bad that there is a dispensary in his locality which is not able to bill for NHIF because it doesn't have connectivity to the end-to-end financial claiming system. So these are emotions. So I think the right people with the right emotions on the digitization, I am sure they are in this room. And therefore we have no doubt that this is a very good team. The Ministry of Health, I'm sure, have tried. You look at the new team. It's looking nice, right? They have the right machinometer can lead, something. It will have the gauge. The gauge at least will have something, and they have the right passion to drive this agenda. And what you need is a team, and that team must have passion. But even some of us who, for a long time, have been studying very many things. There are so many things we don't know, right? Now, so if you have a team with a passion and it is willing to listen, now that one even become more passionate, right? Because even for the things they don't know, they are willing to take and to move forward. So Dr. Langat's team, which is championing this actually, is very good. They are people who are leaders, they think they know everything. So they call you for a meeting to tell you what they want to do. The desire to want to learn from the other person is something that must be cultivated in all of us. And therefore, when the government is learning, please come out. That's why you came for this meeting, right? So let you be among the people who are not throwing the stones, but rather they are coming on the table to say, when you do it like this outcome is what you'll get,
and ideally it's not what you wanted, you actually get it. So let's really be open to that kind of discussion. So the other important thing I just wanted to highlight is that there is a huge investment case for digitization. Even learning coming from the stream of efficiencies that are realizable within our financing streams. And therefore, we know that there is a case to finance the digitization process. Of course, it's very expensive. If you look at the capex itself, the price you can already see is not little. But we also, when you look at the benefit of doing it, because that's what should justify whether you move forward or not. The investment is very credible, and the president said we believe it's doable. I hope you believe it's doable. Do we believe it's doable? Yes. So we believe it's doable. So if at the president we believe it's doable, and you believe it's doable, and I can tell you that Tarangat and team, of course, he believes it is doable. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do it. Now, we have raised this agenda to this level. As we move towards the political pathway, this agenda starts being declassified. Right? You know, you lack your preference. So the preference as of now is very high. As we move, preferences change. And the political class also transform to want to get more votes. Right? We need to have done our mileage before that, as the director highlighted. So it's all of us to actually work together really to make sure that in 2 years we should have done the maximum. Our plan was 2.5. I think 1 year is done. So you have 1 year and a half. So when you find like the government is on high speed, please join it. When you find the government has slowed down, please, assist it to quicken its steps so that we are able to achieve this within the realizable time. So again, the key thing I wanted to highlight here is that a good idea is made better. And this country has very good resources, which are represented here this afternoon. Please always feel welcomed to provide your feedback. I am sure Dr. Langat's team at MOH will be willing, or more than willing actually, to listen. Lastly is that we already have one Kenya to digitize, by the way. Whether we are competing, whether we choose to compete, whether we choose to work together, there is only one Kenya. So please let's remember that one Kenya. That one Kenya is the one that the county governments are providing services to. That one Kenya is the one the national government is providing policy to. That one Kenya is where the private sector is actually digitizing and providing services. And that is also the country where the key donors are actually funding. So if we can all of us believe in this one Kenya and the greater desire to fully digitize, I would think that there is no reason why we should fail. So thank you very much. The president is always committed, saying we have lost it twice actually, to do universal health coverage. We do believe that we had not planned well. We have really taken a lot of time since this government came in to think through how things should be done and how we can move closer to setting up the UHC agenda. So I think we are at doing time, and I have no doubt that this pillar on digitization will not be among the ones that will be dragging the government behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fumoy. I think we can give him the you remember the big polo? On Monday, I took you through some and big polo. So I just warm and give him 2 serious standards, right? So let's warm. 1, 2, 3, let's give 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Thank you very much. So we're actually coming to the end, and let me take this chance to invite Kenya Health Informatics, being led by Dr. Wanyi, now in a different shape, so that he can probably give us his remarks, then followed by USID, and then government will close. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wesley. I think Mumo promised me that by the end of this week I'll I'll be conferred a doctorate. I think I'll accept. But I stand here today to show appreciation a lot, and in this case I'm representing Helena and Kenya. So Helena is the Pan-African Health Informatics Association. And for those of you who are not aware, I'd encourage you to look up Helena, helena.africa. So at Helena, I serve as the president-elect, and at the end of this year, I'll step up to be the president of Helena. And basically what what Helena does, Helena is a network organization for all the professional associations in Africa. In Kenya, we're represented by KEHIA, the Kenya Health Informatics Association. And so through Helena, we've supported this Convergence workshop, mostly on the technical aspects. And for that reason, I'd like to really thank Dr. Langat a lot, and Dr. Job, Dr. Ryan, Dr. Amishwe, for inviting us to support the directorate, and working very closely with Dr. Emma and others who are in the room. It's been a real pleasure working with the team this closely. And I think as I just want to reiterate what Dr. Moi has mentioned, that leadership matters. And the leadership of this government, at least what I've experienced as a professional, is it's very welcoming. Welcoming to the level of taking in criticisms and being very ready to actually change how it's doing things. I think I talk for many people who are here. We've been around long enough, and I see a lot of old faces, Francis, George, and many others who are in this room who have been trying to play a little role in helping support digitization in Kenya. And the truth is, and I think it's important for Dr. Moi to hear this, in the short term of this administration, this statement here speaks the truth, that a lot of things have changed. And in my opinion, and I was chatting about this with a few people over tea break, what truly has changed is leadership. A lot of things are still the same, but in my very strong opinion, I'm more a politician. Leadership matters. And having that change in leadership, right from the presidency, the files of going in government is the directorate, so I don't know what happens about that, but it's evident and it can be felt. So I just want to really honestly convey my appreciation on behalf of the president of Helena. She's based in Accra, Ghana, Dr. Baba, and also the chairman of KEHIA, Dr. Tom Muluch. He's around by his spirit. He'd love to be here. Dr. Kimanga was here. He's the deputy chairman for KEHIA. And Dr. Osumba, Dr. Ngure is here. He's the deputy secretary general. I really thank you very much for partnering with us and inviting us to help provide support on the Convergence workshop technical ideas. And really, I'm looking forward, like everyone else has mentioned, to what lies ahead. We commit to continue providing our support. We made commitments through the different work streams, and we're ready to start to move into the next phase come this Monday. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick. And I believe two teams, TBI, the Tony Blair Institute, and ITEC, please don't feel offended. We also acknowledge. The only problem is that you're very much part of us. We tend to forget at times. Please bear with us, you're part of us. We really appreciate you being here. So allow me to invite Raphael, being part of the team that have really supported us as USID, give your remarks and then come to finish. Raphael, could you kindly?
Thank you very much, Dr. Wesley. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon. It's indeed great to have you here, and I can see you're very energetic. So that gives me the motivation to continue this particular conversation for the next 2 hours. Thank you very much. That graph means I need to cut it down. Right, so to the government of Kenya leadership, the counties and the COG, Acting Director, Division of Digital Health, Informatics, Policy and Research, Acting Heads of Divisions, MOH programs are represented here, the other ministries, departments, and agencies that are represented here, US agencies, other development partners and implementing partners, private sector, and the academia. Before I provide my closing remarks, I'd like to recognize the presence of the organizations that have supported this particular function. Allow me to recognize the presence of CDC representative, if they're here. Please just stand up and wave. Thank you very much for your support. I also would like to recognize the presence of USAID. Okay, one year was here. Allow me to recognize and also invite Dr. Chris Baraza just to stand up and say a word or two as the co-sponsors of this particular function today. Dr. Chris Baraza is the chief of party of the USAID's health system strengthening mechanism.
Thanks, Rafael. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, I don't stand between you and lunch, but just to say thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come and be part of this meeting. I'd love to just say two things. One is to acknowledge the fact that we got a new funding that will be dealing with health governance and strategic partnerships. And when I had the request from Rafael to be able to be part of this engagement, I said that squarely lies in my document. And they said, despite the fact that it's just a 1 week request or invitation, and we would take care of the conference facility. Because he had mentioned that there were a bit of staff towards that. So the space in terms of governance in health is quite a space that needs a lot of intentional, actually, engagement. And I want to assure you, Dr. Lanat, that we shall work together in this journey. We shall work together in this journey because governance, without proper governance, whatever discussions we are having here, it will just remain in this hall. I was chatting with my friend John over tea break, and I was telling them that we need to move out of this hall to the field. Yeah, it reminded me of my field engagements in Turkana. There's a time I was in Turkana and a place called Oktang. Oktang is just about 20 kilometers to southern Sudan. And two things that I made as observations. One was that the community health assistant there had a smartphone. And the gentleman was using his smartphone to actually take snapshots of data and submit the sub-county health records information officer for them to be able to upload it on KHIS. Isn't that marvelous? Okay? Because Turkana has a very poor phone penetration, but the chair was able to actually resonate with what's expected of them and be able to transmit that data. So the second thing that's actually observed, and that's what I was discussing with John, was the issue of, we have very good systems. Because there's a time we didn't have HPV vaccines in that particular area. And I was asking the coordinator, so why don't we have HPV vaccines? And I've taken my time to come and mobilize girls in the nearby school to be able to be vaccinated. I'm a gynecologist by training. So I was really going out of my way to be able to mobilize girls to come. Then she disappointed us because we didn't have vaccines. When I called the vaccine coordinator at national level, actually she told me we have enough stocks at the national level. Some of them are even expiring. So I asked the gentleman, so how do you track these vaccines? Then he had a very nice tablet, opened the tablet, went on to a system that can be able to track vaccines. And then he showed me that actually I could tell that at national level, at the county level, we have enough vaccines. Then I asked myself, where is the challenge in as far as national government, county government, and having vaccines in lockdown? I realized actually that attitude was the missing link. So as we go out of this place, in terms of the discussions we've had, may we translate the discussions we have here into attitudes that can be able to actually reach the patient with the services that they serve. Thank you so much. I'm happy to work with Dr. Langat. He's my immediate former boss at AMREP. So I'm very much happy that he's going to be the head of this. I want to assure you too that Dr. Langat is very dedicated. And I have no doubt the next period of time that you'll be here, that things are going to move in the right direction. I'm also happy to see the likes of Steve here. Steve, you've been in this field for the longest time that I've ever known. Please keep on doing the good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baraza. I'll take away a few lessons from your speech. One is of inclusivity and using digital technology to be able to reach the unreached. And the other one is to quickly move from client-centered to person-centered. I'm sure the people in this room will be able to make that transition in their minds and also to take this action forward. I don't know whether Dr. Matthew is here from KMTC. He's one of the USG implementing partners, was supposed to be part of this conversation. If he's not here, then I would like to ask the Managing Director, UNES, to say just a word as the contract holder of the USAID FIT project. Mr. Senator Baker, please make it short. I can tell that the sugar levels are quickly dropping. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As Governor mentioned, my name is Senator Baker, the Managing Director of UNES. UNES is the consultancy and commercial arm of the University of Nairobi. We are the project owner for this health IT project, which I'm happy that you really engaged. I've been here on and off, and I really appreciate the level of engagement and how IT plays a role in healthcare. Because I think for a long time, people did not see the relevance of IT in healthcare. I think from the conversations and the group discussions we've had, there's a lot of relevance. And even going to the future and looking at the government agenda, it plays a very important role. Being the commercial arm of the University of Nairobi, UNES is able to tap into the capacities from the University of Nairobi and also from the alumni and people in the practice. And I'm happy here that a number of the members here are UN alumni. So we can see how the university is playing a very big role in shaping the health sector in matters of IT. I just want to thank all of us for the engagement that we've had. When I was coming here, I mentioned to my co-chair, Professor Kwanangu, that is a team that is engaging on health IT programs here. And he told me I will not be able to join them, but mass my greetings. Because that ministry, he was once the cabinet minister. So he's very keen. And you can see how UNES is positioned to support the agenda. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi also sent his greetings and best wishes to the engagement, and is confident that with the lessons learned here, we can now take this to the next level and support the national agenda, engaging both the county government and the national government, the MDAs. I think as a CEO, I want to just give you assurance that through the health IT program, we will be able to reach out to each one of us, the programs that you are running, to facilitate some of the agreed actions from this workshop, so that we can see transformation in Kenya when it comes to matters of healthcare. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Colonel D. As we come to the close, allow me to just mention a few things. I think we all agree that health is important, but we also want to agree in this call today that digital health is very important, especially in collapsing time and space, and ensuring that we are able to provide quality healthcare in places that are otherwise geographically impossible to reach. And because of that, we want to appreciate the commitment of the Ministry of Health and the Government of Kenya, knowing that a healthy and productive nation is key to the development of the nation. I also want to make sure that as we leave this place, we recognize the position of health information exchange. Why? Because we can only do the work we do if there is seamless interchange of information from person to person, but most importantly from system to system. And HIE provides that avenue and infrastructure for that exchange to take place. As you know, the data travels at the speed of trust. Data that is trusted will travel very, very fast. Data that is doubtful, will take a very long time to get to its destination. So data travels at the speed of trust. So we need to make sure that we provide an environment that is trusted, data that is of high quality and that's believed by all the stakeholders, and the HIE provides that infrastructure. As we do that, we are enabling quick decisions that are data informed. And as we do that, we improve the quality of the services we provide, and in that particular process, improve the quality of the outcomes of our programs. So I would like to mention here that as Health IT and also I believe the larger USG team, that we continue the collaboration, both bilateral and multilateral, as we move forward towards realizing the digital goal, and working closely with the Ministry of Health and other ministries, departments, and agencies, and also particularly the SAGAs that support the implementation of these programs. We are going to support continued communication, and through the directorate, Dr. Lanat, we want to make sure that going forward from here, we intend to intensify and make transparent our communications with everyone. And of course, continue the strategic partnerships that we have fostered here. If I look around here, I can see 85% of the team here are people that I know professionally or personally. So it's encouraging that this convergence of minds has come together to realize this particular goal that we have here today. I want to thank the Ministry of Health, the leadership, as well as the organizers. I can see Dr. Job did a great job, just as your name says. Dr. Ryan, you've been a very steady hand in ensuring that we get this meeting organized, and you brought together very strong thought leadership in this particular process. Dr. Joyce, I don't know, I can't see her here today, but she's been very stellar as well in ensuring that this meeting takes place. Without forgetting the two MCs, Dr. Jeremiah, a very good job, and Dr. Wesley, we really are thankful for this. And again, thankful to Dr. Lanat for providing the bigger vision for this meeting to take place. As Health IT, I want to reaffirm the commitment of our program in continuing to support the directorate. I think we just concluded the co-creation of the work plans, and in those work plans we made commitments for the next 1 year, and we want to assure everyone that those particular commitments will still stand, and if there are any new priorities that would require the support of Health IT, we're open to discussions, and we can also take these discussions higher up to our USG agencies and interagency technical teams to discuss. With that, kindly allow me to thank everyone very much, and to maintain the networks that we've been able to create here to foster the initiative for health information exchange. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Raphael. I think it's a Friday. I think most of you are familiar. When you're with someone and he says on a Friday, "Tawashikia mzinga," you know what that means, right? So you can imagine I'm going to shikia mzinga for this meeting, and him and Chris have promised another mzinga as long as we're willing to work for this. So kindly let's warm and give them 3 hearty claps. They are the sponsors, remember? So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's warm, start. Yeah, we should become but the sponsor, I'm sure has appreciated. So I want to finish with the government, and as all of you are quite aware, we have 2 levels of government. We have the national government and the county government, and health tends to be a function that is done by both. So kindly Jemima, who works for us from the COG, to give a remark. Then we will finally finish with our head, Dr. Nanat, to give a final remarks. Just a little more patience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wesley. And allow me to stand here on the protocols that have already been established and go ahead and just say good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know our sugar levels are really getting low, but allow me to just quickly mention a few things that I've captured in our engagements for this week. I don't have official closing remarks because it's important to say that. My name is Jemima Kuta. I work at the Directorate of Health at the Council of Governors. And as we all know, the Council of Governors plays a coordination role for the functions that are involved, of which health is one of them, and it's for all the 47 counties. So just to reiterate what Dr. Wesley also alluded to, it is very important for the 2 levels of government to work together, and especially for the health sector, where health service delivery is involved, and we have quite a number of functions that the Ministry of Health undertakes in the same sector. The COG is and it's a level of government that is very structured. And maybe just to give you a brief, we have the health committee, we have the governors who sit in the health committee, about 13 governors. We have the CCs who sit in the various technical thematic committees, including the one that we are speaking to today. Then we have chief officers who are organized in a similar way as the CCs. And then we have the directors who provide the technical inputs to all sectors, all the building blocks in the health sector. So through these structures, these coordination structures at the COG, I think I would just want to reiterate commitment where these, we engage with these structures in terms of towards achieving the universal health coverage. And then I would also want to mention that the Mashujaa Day team of UHC, we look forward to engaging the MOH in terms of identifying which counties we will showcase on that day. And that will be very important for the Council of Governors, even just showcasing how the 2 levels of government work together. Apart from that, I think I look forward to engaging with the team. I think Dr. Wanyese mentioned next week. Let me just allude to the doctor until you become a professor now. So yeah. So going forward, we look forward to continuing with the engagement on digitizing the health sector. As I had alluded to earlier, counties are the biggest beneficiaries when we have standards that can guide them even in procuring vendors and also having to put systems in place to undertake this. So with that said and done, thank you so much and enjoy your afternoon.
Yeah, so finally it's my privilege to welcome my directorate head, this is Dr. Langat. He's now him, and then next is the sugars with rice. Thank you very much.
Yes, I hope I'll take a very short time. Well, good afternoon. I'm really amazed, and I think everyone who has come here Turanira was there and a number of people. The level of commitment, that on a Friday, we are still seated and we are smiling. And despite the sugars being very low, you can see that even if you have to stretch you for 1 more hour, you are willing to commit. So we don't take it for granted from behalf of the ministry, just to appreciate that. And we ask for champions, and I think we are the champions. And Ryan, I understand Maya was asking me whether there's a title or a profession called networking expert. So Ryan, we need to make sure that these thematic groups are talking to each other. So wherever you are in that thematic group, you have already started a community of practice. We don't know how you are going to name it, whether it's a technical working group, whatever it takes. But we want that conversation to start from now moving forward until we say Kenya is fully digitized. So please, Ryan, just take that mantle and make sure you run with it. There have been a mention about timelines. Yeah, and we don't have that luxury of time. In fact, the president is going to launch. I mean, we are celebrating, that is my county region, Mashitani, and one of the key things that we know we are going to launch is the community health promoters. But we started a team, was it on Tuesday? I think Tuesday or Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? And we agreed that client registry have already made a lot of progress. It is available, maybe people are not accessing it, people are not using it. And I asked Jeremiah that I hope one of the things you are going to launch is that October 20th is client registry. And I know Dr. Kimanda promised that he has the money, he has the expertise, and he's going to bring together. So that is an action point I know we have taken. And I know you're supposed to be next week. You're telling me you're postponed. For me, we have got less than 2 months. That registry should be available. We have got partners and we are inviting partners to join to make sure that client registry is fully operational, people can actually access it. There's no reason why MTNH would be struggling. So that is a done action plan. If we disappoint the ministry, then I think we'll have to see how to address that. I also know that there are conversations around the NHTT, the KMFL Fashion 3, and the Master CU registry. I don't think we need many resources on that. LITs have informed that we are going to manage that. So I don't know what timelines you agreed, but it's part of those things that it would be great. You know, sometimes digitizing a health center or a dispensary, there are very few people, but these national resources that even the leadership can actually check and see that there are those registries, I think. And it speaks to the needs of the population. If I'm engaged and because the citizens are able to identify with such a service, I think that would be a great service that the Ministry of Health has provided. So please, for those registries, we have the resources, we have the expertise. Can we make sure that it is publicized by, you know, the best person who can do your publicity is His Excellency the President. And now that we do that in October 20th. The other decision that was made was the question of the data protection impact assessment, and thank you, Philip. You promised that you will give us the technical assistance, and that is so important before you go into that registry. And I'm sure there will be a partner who is here to support that. I don't think digital space money is not the biggest issue. Yeah, I think that's one reason I've learned. So if this space money is not the issue, so please, that needs to be done, because we are also pushing the digital health bill and these registries. So we don't want to go the process that partners went through when they are doing the Otuma number. So please, is also one thing that we need to deliver. The requirement is it 2 months? 2 months before. Yeah, before. So we already a bit late. And going with it also, of course, we have already done issues of data, the governance framework, and I think that is a tool that is available. So please, I think it still sits with Joyce is not around. Rachel, make sure the immediate supervisor is aware of that, and it's something that we need to move with speed. There is the Kenya EMR Plaza. Yeah, it's amazing, and I keep on, and I have kept on asking myself that you go to a CCC, you are fully digitized in a CCC, then the rest of the guys are second-class citizens. Yeah, it does never make sense to me. So, and when I asked the question, I was told there's a communication that there's only one system, so pretty much. I think I provided the direction to the team, and I want to communicate here that nobody is stopping you from deploying a solution as long as it meets the standard. And out of the starting point, you can imagine 2,000, is it 900 facilities? Yeah, that within the shortest time possible, you can actually get them all fully digitized. I don't see any reason. And if there was any question around direction, I'm providing that direction here that let's quiet and do it. And I think we agree that we need a community of practice to support, because I'm told when there was some issues, then but we are ready to support you to make sure that those facilities, let people don't be second-class citizens. You come from a fully digitized system, and then when you have malaria, your issues becomes a different story altogether. So that is a direction how there's no ambiguity. We have said we move. After KE, I think Machakos Makwelo was here, and we said we'll sit down with them and see how we support. So Makwelo, they have already committed and we said they're here, and I think we agreed. So we said sit down with them, see what you can do to support. And we agreed for Avia KE that we have done a bit of an assessment, and we say it's 80% there. And I will just can we get that training of TOTs, so that is not a small group like that. And we expand them. And even before the opening of our, can we get sufficient people who can support the deployment across the country? And Ryan, just make sure that we coordinate that and move. I know we are going to buy, we are looking for getting someone to support us to do the national rollout. But it's a process, and we don't have that time. They are saying some of the quick wins, let's just do it, and we move quickly, and whenever that one catches up, we'll be somewhere. So I hope those directions have been provided. And lastly, for course, Busia, I think you mentioned some counties, but Busia is missing. And I tell you, he's safe. And I think there's a calculation people might tell you, and I think mine, that Busia has been identified as one of the counties that will implement the Peter agenda in totality. That means issues of value chain, the question of MSMEs, including UHC, digitization is key. I think there are these, the other is the digital economy. So those value chains, all the five elements of Peter agenda will be done in Busia. So we also want somebody to adopt Busia and run with it. Because we expected as a ministry to say what we have done in Busia. So Kericho is a priority, Busia is a priority. Makweli have come and said they want to do something, please, let's support them. And I've got the resources. I know we're going to do some work with Moranga. I think the message from the directorate is this: consult and tell us you want to do this. We'll sit down with you and tell you for this one, we know it meets the standards and you can go and do it, get your resources. Engage us. We don't have a lot of people in the directorate, but we can tap into several partners, and that can support us to make sure that we roll our agenda. We are open, we are willing to listen, and we are committed. Yeah, I've been there for 3 months now, and I keep on saying the speed at which things are moving. You are thinking, you are implementing, and you keep on changing. So the team is here, is ready to support you. We have, and I don't know whether we did the mapping of the partners. We call it on the atlas. Is it? Are we somewhere?
We set up the request and people should fill out the registration.
Yeah, please. So let's just do that. Actually, it just came from a meeting with the senior leadership. And Ryan, one of the things that he has mentioned is that he has never understood people go for a meeting for 1 week Then when they come back the following Monday, they ask for a report. They are told it's still not finished. So that's one of the things you require is those reports. If it is those atlas, can you make sure it is available? The report for this meeting, let's make sure that is done. I know that everyone, but why do you even share as draft zero? With every member who sat in this meeting recognized by name as a list of contributor and by the organization that they come in. The acknowledgement, yes, let's recognize the institutions, but make sure that each and every person who sat in this meeting is in that and I state and probably we see who is going to sign that report when it's finalized. Is it the peers, or it will be the DG, or will take it to the level of the cabinet secretary, because that really is key, that we recognize your support. But I think it's not just a question of recognition. We are telling you our office is open. As Mwai said, there's only one Kenya. Ours is just to support you. And take that advantage. You know, somebody who was going to study with me, you know, we have been disappointed in Ministry of Health because, yeah, so maybe today Langat is open, tomorrow Langat is not there. So why don't you take, you can't control the future. Yeah? Why don't you maximize the presence of this team? Even if it's for 6 months, if it's for 1 year. Whatever we do, we make sure that is anchored in the policies, in whatever structures for coordination. If somebody else comes, it takes a bit of time to undo that what was structured. So take that advantage. Take the advantage, as Philip says, the politicians, they tend to move with support numbers. So today, if I get frustrated and I don't think you are speaking to my agenda, and I see that I'm not going to get numbers from what you're doing, then I'll have to look for something that will help me get elected next time. So please, at the moment, the focus is digitization, the focus is UHC. Let's take that advantage and we demonstrate results. And there is that commitment. And that window is not more than a year. After that, people will get frustrated. And I'm not sure whether we'll go back to that. Those resources you have been looking for. The resources is not a big problem. In fact, is us changing the attitude, it's just changing that. You mentioned about attitude. Let's start move from here, get a movement, and we show that it's possible to do it. I know there's a lot of fear. We have been here before. You have been promised that it has never happened. We have a commitment for my direction. And I've told many people actually, sometimes I worry maybe I become very temporary. I mean, if by 2 years nothing has changed, then I don't even see the business of sitting there. Yeah. By the 3rd year, you are celebrating and you're thinking of something else. That has always been wherever I've gone to. If I can't make an impact in 2 years, that is pointless. And we move on. And I think I have the right team. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you. Those are the division head, Ryan, and Momo, and the rest of the team who are here, Nancy, Diana, especially from my directorate, to get a meeting of this nature to run at this level of efficiency. I know it's not easy. But I also know we have partners that supported you. So thank you for the partners who sponsor this. Yeah, we still require your money for many things. Yeah, one of them is we are doing the digital helping. Please, I'm appealing for public participation. I think we have a budget of 17 million. But we'll tell you that there's a question of, is it sufficient and meaningful engagement, public participation? So in case you have resources, we want to make sure that, and Jemima, please assist us with the counties. We are happy to engage at the county level when that time. I think it should be the next 2 weeks. We have been postponing this. The digital help needs to go for public participation. We require those resources quickly. There is also an indication, and we will be coming back to you, but the Help Act of, is it 2017? There's a feeling that we need to look at it, and we have just been told to get a team to support that, and including the health policy. So we'll also be coming back to you to say, things have changed. UIC is at the moment is, I think the way we are looking at this is different. So there are things that we need to make it, what you call amended to reflect that. So we become a back to some. And actually the commitment is these things, they will stream by 4 months. So that is the speech. Yeah, so let me end by saying, as Mai said, ukiona tunaelekea mtuambie, this is your government, you have a stake. I've always told my staff, when you are in that office, you are there by right, but it doesn't mean that means what we have a responsibility. It is good for you to say, I'm not happy, I think we should be able to do this, and we listen. And we agree this is the direction we want to take. Yeah. Sometimes we don't agree. I also want to be also contribute to that attitude. We also, anytime you ask for a question, you can a yes or a no, but at least ask your question, issue of concern. We are open, we are ready to support you. Enjoy your lunch, have a nice weekend, and the community of practice that I call the TWG, I want to see it being vibrant. Maybe it's not too much to ask, include me in that each of those groups so that I can also have a visibility of what is going on. Thank you. We really don't take it for granted that you have spent 5 days here. You have seen commitment. In fact, I feel so bad that yesterday I was not here. Yeah, it feels like I know we are busy, but it doesn't mean that we cannot sit in a meeting like this. We've had it. Sometimes things are just competing interests. We really don't take it for granted. We appreciate and all the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nakash. I believe we can do a serious one as we finish. It's the last appreciation of the day. How many of you are familiar with 3 factorial? So I'll make it 4 factorial, so that the last one is for us. It's been a total commitment, and I have to appreciate that we really have pulled in for this particular one. So let's warm. Let's warm. So we'll start.
Make them 5.
She has asked me to make them 5. Now that you know about your blood group, are you in objection? So we're doing 5 factorial. We'll start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then Momo can come close so that Momo can pray for the food. Immediately we finish. Okay, we go. I'm not even sure the sugar are low.
I kindly request to be outstanding. Let's go ahead. Our Father, we come before you this morning. God of all creations, Almighty God, we thank you for taking us through from Monday to this day. Lord, you have moved with us in different discussions. You gave us insight. Lord, you walk with us even when we're making decisions for this country. Lord, I pray for this first Convergence meeting on digital health. Lord, that the output you have come out with here will enable us to achieve for the benefit of our country. God bless each one member who has been participated in this. Bless the leadership of the ministry. Bless the leadership of different partners, different institutions, private, who have been participating in this. Help us to have common vision and goal in this. We pray now as we break. This is just a comma, Lord, so that you can enable us to continue working as this teamwork we have going forward. We pray for the food which is in front of us. We pray that you're going to bless it. And for those who don't have, that you're going to give them, so that next time we also have. As we move out, King of Glory, give us as Genesis as we go back to our families. And I pray that you're going to bless our country, Kenya, so that we can achieve our agenda as a country. We pray this believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much.
Ah,